As I understand that at that age, maybe it is actually the hardest thing they've had to do, but like you can't say it's the hardest thing on like episode 12 of a 700 chapter manga. Welcome, everyone, to OCHATO, the fortnightly podcast where we drink tea and review manga. I'm Oliver.
And I'm Suellen.
And I'm Jade.
Every 2 weeks, we pick a manga that one of us has recommended, and we read up to a certain chapter and discuss the manga with a megaton of spoilers. This week, we're reading Naruto by Masahi Kishimoto, up to and including chapter 36, which I recommended. But before diving in, we must know the answer to the most important question. What is everyone drinking?
I am on day 21 of the Advent calendar from Suellen. Thank you so much. It's the Bird and Blend Advent calendar. And today it is strawberry lemonade tea, which has apple pieces, hibiscus, elderberries, rosehip, lime leaves, strawberry pieces, sunflower petals, orange peel, and natural flavoring. And it's got like a nice pinkish, purplish tint, like the actual tea itself, the color. So yeah, it smells like strawberry lemonade. I imagine it tastes like strawberry lemonade too, but it's way too hot at the minute, so you'll have to wait for my verdict.
Nice. I'm having also Bird and Blend aniseed balls tea. It's got hibiscus, licorice, aniseed balls. Yeah, it tastes very licorice. And the color of the tea is actually a very nice maroon.
Oh,
yeah.
How long has it been in there for?
Not that long. I think 3-4 minutes. These teas, they act pretty fast. I think Bird and Blend, I don't know if you guys try to have like a second pour of the tea leaves. Yeah, so you finishing one cup and you sort of immediately fill it up with hot water again to try to have a second cup. Yeah, they're good for that. I found that for some teas you can't do it twice anymore. It will just loses all flavor.
Do you find some retain their flavor really well?
Yeah,
like always like a downgrade.
Yeah, like after the second, they lose this all flavor after the first boil, I guess. First batch. I think that's the idea, I guess.
Yeah, decent. I've got peppermint cream, also by Bird and Blend. It's literally just oolong tea, peppermint, and cocoa shells. It smelled incredible pre-brewing, and now it smells, well, I guess like peppermint cream. I'm not sure how much I'm digging it yet, but I have yet to take a sip. However, I'd like to give a shout out to my local cafe's Korean honey lemon tea, which was incredible. I don't know what they got in there. I'm assuming lemon and honey. It had little lemon bits in. It was so good. I'm going to have to try and get some.
Now they know where you live, Ollie.
So let's talk about manga. So this is Naruto, again by Masahi Kishimoto. And it was first published in 1999 and was what my first manga that I got really into. Every kind of, I guess, special occasion, my grandparents would take me to the local like Waterstones or a bookshop, and me being anywhere from kind of like 5 through maybe 15, I was like, I'm getting manga, and that manga was Naruto most of the time. So I've actually got basically all of the like part 1 physical volumes, and then most of part 2 in like as actual physical manga, which is kind of rare for me. But it's yeah, one of the ones that are close to my heart. Having said that, it was fun coming back to it anew and having not read it in quite a while, to get, I guess, a new perspective on it. So in Naruto, we follow our protagonist, funnily enough, called Naruto, and he's a ninja in the ninja village of Konohagakure, which is set in a kind of Japanese style forest, basically. So it's the Leaf Village, and he's training to become a ninja along with his classmates Sasuke, Uchiha, and Sakura Haruno. I can't say either of their names. And yeah, we basically follow his journeys. It's a classic shonen manga and was kind of one of the big three. I guess, what were your first impressions? And have you read this before, any of it?
Yeah, for me, I've never read Naruto in my life. I never even seen Naruto ever, because I know it's like one of the big three animes. In fact, I don't think I actually watched any of the big three. I only watched the recent popular ones like My Hero Academia, or was it Demon Slayer? I was never on the big three train, like One Piece, Naruto, Bleach.
Yeah, good times.
Yeah, for me, it was I predated that. I watched Cardcaptor Sakura. That was one of my top animes. But yeah, I was really interested to see, what's this timeless manga has in store that grabs so many people's attention and cultivated so much love from the manga and anime community. Yeah, I can see why. At first, yeah, I noticed that the art is already very impressive from the start. Great character design that really stood out for me. And yeah, I just see all the typical shonen tropes of a really headstrong and overly confident protagonist yelling their dreams and ambitions and having other people underestimate him, but he's going to make it as a superstar. So yeah, quite my first impression is that yeah, it fits all the shonen trope, which is not necessarily a bad thing. It's a good thing. That's why there are these tropes. You enjoyed them. Yeah, just following the journey of Naruto.
Nice. Jade, what did you think?
Yeah, I'm sort of the same. I'm in the same boat as you, Suellen. I knew of it, like that it was huge, but I'd never read Naruto before. But I also was able to see why so many people love it so much, because you immediately from the start, it's very endearing to have this character who's like, I'm gonna become Hokage, and you're like, yeah, okay, yeah, I'll support you on this journey. So it was really nice reading it, actually. And with this being my first introduction to Naruto, I'm really glad to have read it.
Awesome. Yeah, pleased to hear it. For me, obviously it wasn't first impressions, but coming back to it, I guess maybe this is most summed up by me saying how far through I've got it. I got to our chapter target, which was, I think, 36. Yeah, and I was like, I need more. So I'm currently on chapter 252, which I think says more than I could otherwise. So
how many chapters are there in total?
An awful lot. Give me just a second and I can check.
Yeah, you went on like a nostalgia trip.
Oh, I did. It's been fun. So I'm seeing, oh my goodness, there's really quite a lot. There are 700 chapters.
Whoa.
After about maybe 200 or so, it turns into like part 2, which in the anime is called Naruto Shippuden. So it does have some fairly large kind of shifts in not necessarily focus, but I guess kind of time skips. So let's talk about some of the characters. Obviously, we've got our main character, Naruto Uzumaki, headstrong, loud, maybe not the most book smart, we know. And then he makes part of Team 7, and included in Team 7 are Sasuke, Uchiha, and Sakura, Haruno, along with their teacher called Kakashi Hatake, who's a man that seems very kind of, one could say lazy at first, but somehow yet so skilled. What did you think of them? Did you have a favorite? Were there any other characters that I've not mentioned that you liked more?
So I think I really liked the Kakashi sensei, because I thought he's not what he seems. Naruto himself, he's just Naruto. You can't help but love his spirit, his drive, his ambition. Sasuke, to me, was just a small emo boy child who would just stare at things and not really say much. But Sakura, to me, I felt like she had so much potential, but I felt like they really weren't giving her character much, because all it was for her was, I'm going to be a shinobi because I want to be with Sasuke, and that was her only reason for doing this. Like, so far from what we can see, it might be different in later chapters, or maybe her character gets a little bit more of a development, but right now it was a bit frustrating to see her character like this, as if like girls are in things just for love. That was the message that I got from her. But I really, really hope that they develop her character more later. But like, on the whole, I think they worked quite well with each other. Would like to see more abilities from Sakura, I think. But it was really funny, some really some laugh out loud moments as well. And yeah, so those are my thoughts on the characters.
Nice.
Yeah, I would agree with most of the points that you bring up. I thought Naruto, it's a lovable dork, who's always, your typical energetic little monkey boy who's always like stomping up and down, like, notice me. But yeah, it's nice that they, I guess, at least with Naruto's character, they give a lot of reasoning behind why he's acting like that, rather than just the typical, oh, he's a shonen protagonist, that's why he's acting like that. It's because of his background. And it's nice to see that he's there are other characters who has the same sort of traits as well. They come to like an understanding, like the boy Inari, and also the teacher Iruka, right? They all have similar backgrounds to Naruto. It's nice to see these characters sort of see themselves in each other and learn to sort of have sort of this kind of empathy for each other. I think that was kind of nice. One of the things I liked about this manga, the connections between characters. Yeah, and I agree that for Sakura, it is a bit annoying to see that all she ever talks about is like, I love you, Sasuke, and go away, Naruto. You're, blocking my attempts to flirt with Sasuke. But I guess they never really explained why gave her like a backstory why she's doing this, becoming a ninja at all. But I guess we'll find out later. And also, the teachers and everyone gives a lot of attention to only Sasuke and Naruto because they both have crazy potential, and kind of leaves Sakura out for quite a lot. And I think they never also saw Sakura as a competition, even though at one point she was the one who's like the best at controlling her chakra. Yeah, so it's kind of like, she's right there. What is she, invisible? But I guess they trying to give an arc where she got scolded by Sasuke saying, oh, all you do is think about flirting, like try and actually upskill yourself. And she was feeling a bit gloomy during the last chapters that we saw of her, that she's saying, you're right, I should probably focus on the skill, which is nice. But I like to see more female shinobu representation in this manga. I guess we will, because we saw a lot of new character introductions near the end in chapters that we read. But yeah, sorry to go on a rant on Sakura. And yeah, Sasuke being your typical edgelord, with good reason, it seems, because he's like everyone he knows died, and he's like the only surviving member. So I give him a pass on that. Kakashi, a lot of unpredictable qualities. He seems sleazy at first, reading Make Out Paradise. Works in front of underage children, like what the hell? But yeah, he has a lot of depth to him, and I've seen from the fandom Like everything I know about Naruto is against my will. Like, it seems like he's quite popular in as husbando, apparently. So yeah, well, I understand where you're coming from, Jay. But yeah, I think those are the main characters. Yeah, what about you, Ollie?
Obviously, a little bit different for me, having kind of the additional context of all of the rest of Naruto and some of Boruto for like what these characters do. I was actually most surprised on a reread by Sasuke, believe it or not, because you see him as the typical edgelord, but then it's fun seeing, I guess, a bit more character from him when you see those moments where he's like, oh my god, Naruto's actually really improved, or the bit where he basically jumps in front of the needles to save Naruto, and he's like, my body just moved on its own, idiot. And I'm like, that's actually it's nice seeing that like camaraderie between him and Sasuke and the kind of the bond that they have. And I think that that's a big part of what Naruto as a manga is those bonds between characters. In particular, of course, Naruto and Sasuke. I also agree with you on the points for Sakura. I can kind of forgive early on, at least, the focus being more on Naruto and maybe his bond with like one particular character, that being Sasuke. But it would be nice for her to get a bit more of the spotlight, especially kind of earlier on. I won't say anything about later arcs, so I'll leave it there. But yeah, big fan. Kakashi, I still think he's pretty cool, but I used to be like, man, he's so cool when I was younger.
He is so cool.
Oh,
I just like, I think like on my read through, I was thinking that it had elements of both One Piece and Hunter x Hunter.
Yeah, there's a lot of classic tropes that to some extent Naruto is one of the manga that normalized them and turned them into tropes. For others, they've been around for many, many, many years, and it's just using them again. But I think he used them really well. So yeah, big fan of the characters here. Also quite fun when you have the additional context on the reread. Like, for example, Kakashi's excuse for being late on their first meeting has more to do with it. I won't spoil anything because that's like end of series. But he's got a good excuse.
He's actually really bad at directions.
Really bad, yeah. Well, it's because he's reading all the time,
Yeah, like it's a condition. It is.
It's true. So during what we read, we basically follow the plot of Naruto stealing a secret scroll, learning the jutsu that he shouldn't, the shadow clone jutsu, and passing the academy graduation to become a ninja. Then he joins Team 7, which we've just discussed, and they end up going on a mission to protect a bridge builder. Long story short, they get attacked by a few people, eventually including Zabuza, who's a mist village ninja that's gone rogue, and his accomplice, should we say, Haku, who's very good with needles. We kind of ended up with those two being defeated, a nice little kind of plot thread tied up, and then we just had a couple of chapters where we introduce some new characters, most of whom I don't think we've had names for yet.
Rock Lee.
Rock Lee, one of my favorites.
Yeah, he seems to be a favorite among the fandom.
He's just awesome. He's also got one of the best scenes like ever in anime.
I may know that scene.
You probably do know the scene. It's the one with the weights.
Yeah.
The one with the weights.
Yeah. If you haven't seen it, go and watch it afterwards. It's awesome. What did you think of the plot with that kind of first arc that we had?
Yeah, I like it. I actually really enjoyed all the fights, I think. Because I feel like the mangakas does a lot of like plot twists, I guess, like because you don't know much when you first started reading about the art of, was it ninjutsu? Yeah. So you don't know what's the limit and what's the capabilities, but I love how they use that to their advantage. They just keep going like, haha, I could do this, and then the other guys are no, I foresee this and I did this, and they're like, haha, I foresee that you foresee this. I actually did this. And it's just crazy. I'm like, oh wow, like I have to like suspend my belief with like breaking the laws of physics, of course, but yeah, it's just so fun to see them kind of coming up with these, like, I guess, counter attacks with these people, like summoning like hundreds images of themselves, but then also one of the image can turn into a freaking weapon, and your image, no, you can turn into a weapon, and then your image can throw you as a weapon to someone else, and to stack an actual weapon on top of the fake weapon that you've transformed into and throw it at some guy. I loved it. I was like, that's amazing. But I do kind of wish they already established the ground, like the limitations or what's possible a bit more at the beginning, so that when it does it, I feel like that's like, oh my God, that's mind blowing. You know, instead of being like, okay, I guess you can do that now. I didn't, okay. Like, what's the, like, how are the images interacting with each other? Are they solids? How can you make an image from, like, because they were really impressed with Naruto, like, oh my God, the art of the double ganger, like, they're all solid forms and no one has ever conjured up solid forms. But yeah, it was still cool if you just forget about, you know, if you just accept whatever the mangaka throws at you. Yeah, it's really enjoyable to see these little twists. I think they're great. And all the, I guess another highlight of the plot are the emotional moments as well, like the story about the kid and the dad who sacrificed himself in the protests against the villain Gato.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that was really heartbreaking. And also, I guess the relationship between Haku and Zabuza.
Zabuza?
Sorry,
Close.
a flaw with me is that when I read names of characters in books, manga, what have you, if they're not said out loud, I just look at them as an entity, and I never see them as a word or read it in my mind. I just see them recognize them as an entity, and just say that pattern of letters is that character. So I don't actually remember the letters individually. Apologies. Yeah, that was interesting because it's complex, but yeah, I like it how they fleshed it out and how show their sort of care for each other, although it is a bit morally grey, but you know, it's nice to know this they do care about each other. And also sad, you know, there's a lot of morally grey areas in this manga.
Yeah, some good points. It's, I agree with the kind of, you need to just accept that some of it's how the system works, and you won't have, there's just no way you could have predicted it. Like, yes, sure, it's technically possible, but come on. It's what kind of got me was that they're like, man, this is the hardest thing there is. Like, you know, having to control your chakra to like climb a tree. It's the pinnacle of like, this is challenging. And I'm like, is it? Considering some of the stuff that happens later, like, this is pretty easy.
Yeah.
I was like, I understand that at that age, maybe it is actually the hardest thing they've had to do. But like, you can't say it's the hardest thing on like episode 12 of a 700 chapter manga. Especially shounen.
Keep raising the bar, like, oh no, this is the most impressive thing.
Like, oh, you thought walking on trees was hard? Try walking on water.
Yeah.
Do they do that?
Later, yeah.
Oh wow.
I mean,
So yeah, a lot of that kind of stuff.
Wow.
They use water as a prison as well. Like, what else is there?
Why not just swim? Swim out of prison.
It's a bubble. You poke.
Yeah.
They break out of water prison. You breathe.
Yeah. You just gotta like light a match in the water prison and evaporate the water.
Yeah. Easy.
Sure.
Easy.
I did like a lot of the really creative kind of jutsu that they have.
Like harem no jutsu.
Yeah, that's one of them. But I like the kind of split where you've got the genjutsu, which we haven't seen much of. You got the taijutsu, which is like the physical, you know, karate, judo, whatnot. And then you've got the ninjutsu, which is arguably the most interesting one, which is all of the like the fireballs and the shadow clones. When I was a lot younger, I got really keen and I like memorized all the hand signals. I got like the companion book to like for each of them. And so I had like, I can't do it now, I don't remember them, but to like cast the fireball that Sasuke does when he's doing that initial challenge. I like had those down and everything.
Amazing.
Good times. Excellent if you're that age. Still a lot of fun. And then just for a little bit on the plot from me, I really liked actually the first couple of arcs. I thought the first mini arc with the scroll being stolen and then Iruka kind of defending Naruto was a nice one just to introduce us to Naruto. And then the Team 7 basically first mission that goes horribly out of hand, or the first big mission that goes horribly out of hand, I thought was a really nice way of showing these bonds and seeing the characters grow. And it was, I thought, just about the right length with the right number of characters to like keep us interested. I reckon that, however, that they probably could have fit a bit more of like Sakura doing something cool in there, but I'll take what I can get.
Stood around and protected the old man, I guess.
Yeah. Well, that was because she passed that was because she could basically climb up trees immediately because she had really good chakra control. But it's still like, I feel like she could have done something more like emotionally awesome.
Yeah, I think the main takeaway for me of what we've read so far is it's good to do stuff that you aren't supposed to do, like steal a scroll and make lots of copies of yourself, and also demand a harder challenge, and also give your friend lunch if he's being deprived of lunch, that kind of stuff, which is
break the rules,
which is nice. Yeah, exactly. I really have to commend Naruto for its world building. It is very believable, with the Hidden Leaf Village having all these like high places, low places, places of nature, forests, the trees and the forest clearings, the trees on which they stand. It's all very it becomes very real to the reader, I think.
Yeah, it's very comprehensive for the plot.
Agreed. There's a huge amount of background on the world that they all live in that you can get either from the manga or from the extra bits or from the companion books, which I really enjoy. Seeing stuff like, what the town looks like, what various people's hobbies are, even in the town, just really helps to build that believable world. So yeah, that was definitely one of the highlights for me. And I think that holds in all of the big three shonen manga, where it's not just the characters that are interesting, but it's the world that they're in as well that's really just compelling. And so it makes you not only interested in like seeing where they are, but also what they're doing. All right, let's talk art. There's a lot of art in Naruto, and Masashi Kishimoto puts little, I'm not sure if he does it in the chapters that we've been reading so far, but he has basically like a page after many of the chapters for each of his artists that he works with. I see you both nodding. So we may have seen one or two, which I really enjoyed, but clearly there's a lot that goes into the art. What did you think?
Yeah, I thought it was very solid from the beginning. Everything, the backgrounds are very, very detailed in every sort of panel where there's like a wide shot of the settings and stuff. It's very impressive, the amount of details they put into it. The characters are great. They all have very unique designs, unique uniforms. So it's very easily to tell them apart. I don't think I have any favorite designs yet. Maybe Rock Lee, because he just stands out so much from all the other faces.
The green one piece.
No, like no, I'm talking about his face.
Oh yeah.
It's very like, he could be from a different manga. When I first saw it, I thought, is this like One Piece? Like, is this a character from One Piece? No, it's Naruto.
Have we seen his sensei yet?
No, I don't think
chapter
so.
36. Okay.
No, we just seen him and his two friends. I've seen fan arts of them, like the trio. I thought they were really cool. Yeah, so I'm excited to read more and see more of them. But yeah, the fight scenes are cool, very, very cool as well. I think they're quite clear on what they're doing most of the time. I think sometimes I guess I read too quickly, so I have to like go back and see, wait, what actually happened. But yeah, it's very cool to see all the. There's one I think of I can't remember which character it was, but someone was doing the like multiple hand gestures, like lightning fast, and there's like impressions of the
Mhm.
previous gestures like all over him. I thought that was a really cool panel. But yeah, there's just the art is very enjoyable when you're reading it. It really conveys the fast pacedness of the fights. Yeah, I can't imagine. I mean, it kind of makes me want to watch the anime to see how it plays out. I heard very good things about the anime because they have really good references for the fights. And I just remember one time, one of my friend, we were talking about anime in the science library. he just straight up just showed me a clip of Naruto going like, look at this masterpiece. And we just sat there just watching that without me knowing any context of the fights. And it's like, look at this, they had professional fighters to fight as a reference for this video. Like, it was very impressive. But then he proceeds to show me some spoilers about Naruto's parents. And then like, this is how they died.
I actually think I walked in on you guys watching that. Yes. Yeah, I remember that moment.
Yeah, and I showed him in response Barakamon, a slice of life comedy, which we will read when it's my turn. But again, the art is fantastic. I think very, very cool.
Yeah, I liked the art style. I think the reason why some bits are so chaotic and so undecipherable for me is due to the fast-paced nature of this manga. Like sometimes there'd be a fight scene and I couldn't really tell who was who. It was just a blur of like things happening. I tried to make people out, but I couldn't quite see. But I think that was because that may have been because the mangaka wanted to convey that sense of it's going so fast that, like, to you, a normal viewer, it's just really hard to keep up with. I liked the art. I liked the character designs for our characters. They're all very distinctive. Naruto with his hair, Sakura with her hair, Sasuke with his hair.
Very, a lot of emphasis on the hair.
He's got the peacock hair.
Yeah.
With the like, what I think is bed hair coming, or just anime hair at the back, is like very similar to a certain bird. I'm not sure if it was a peacock, but
you know what? I dare say Sasuke revolutionized the emo boy hair.
It's possible.
But yeah, and also like Kakashi as well, like his eye patch thing, very iconic. And even like Gato,
the cake,
like well, he certainly is a piece of cake, I'll tell you that. He's very distinctive as well, just classic like villain type. And I liked the way they drew the backgrounds as well. That was quite nice. You could tell when bits were supposed to be like serious or comedic, and the art really lended itself to the timing of the manga.
Yeah, I like it. The thing that stood out to me was the polish, actually. It's consistently excellent quality of art. Even the comedy scenes where they kind of use the lower, a fewer number of lines just to kind of give it that low quality humor. The backgrounds are still gorgeous. There's a couple of panels in particular. There's one in, I think, the set that we've seen where they're like overlooking Konoha, and you see all these buildings. I'm like, that must have taken ages to draw. There's a fairly infamous panel way, way, way later in the manga as well, where again we look over most of Konoha, and again I'm like, this must have taken so many hours to draw. And I love the art style. I think it's really clean. It's very accessible. The character designs, as you've been saying, are all pretty distinct. Yeah, big fan here. I actually thought that, I think we've not seen many people with it so far. Maybe only some of the newer characters introduced, but they have like a chainmail that they wear on them. And for so many years, I thought it was like fishnet.
Love it.
So I was like, man, this outfit, why you got like a full ninja outfit and then you've got like a fishnet stocking on one leg? And I'm like, okay, I'm not going to judge. This is manga. Only to realize many years later that it's actually chainmail.
Amazing.
But yeah, I'm a fan of the art. I like it. No real complaints here. Very polished. It also doesn't change that much, in my opinion, over the course of the manga. Sometimes we'll see something written, like drawn by somebody, and it gets better over time, and you can see it improving. I'm trying to think if we've got any examples of stuff we've read. Berserk changes quite a lot over time as you read it. Bleach too, also. Naruto, however, is very consistent, I think, over the course of the whole of it, and I quite like that. So we've had only really one major arc so far, but were there any real standout moments for you?
One that came to the top of my head was when Naruto was like, I've got to, get ahead of Sasuke. I don't want to be like rescued anymore. And it was before that, actually. It was when he was like cutting open the wound on his hand to like let the poison out. Like, he's 12, right? 12 years
Something
old.
like that, yeah.
Like, whoa. But yeah, what about you guys?
Yeah, I'm trying to think of any other moments apart from the ones that I mentioned. Yeah, Ollie, why don't you go first?
Sure. A couple for me. I actually really liked the first training exercise with Kakashi, where you see basically all three of them kind of try their own thing. You see their weaknesses, and then you see Kakashi's kind of style of teaching. That's really interesting. And seeing there's a similar kind of situation way later as well that it kind of parallels to, which I think was just a really nice way of tying it in. Similarly, the whole thing with Haku, where Haku's the kind of slightly more complex relationship with Zabuza and Haku, I quite liked. It was, it wasn't super complex, so you can still kind of understand it, but it was more interesting than just, oh, I want money, or, we're just standard bad guys. They had a little bit more going on for them, and just kind of enough depth there that I thought it made a perfect first villain or first like big opponent for the team. But yeah, many of my standout moments come later. However, I think the first arc in general, as I've said, is excellent generally.
Yeah, I think apart from the moments, I've already mentioned the cool bits in the fight and the plot twist within the plot twist within the plot twist. Yeah, I like how they're trying to show what how Naruto is trying to grapple with what it means to be a shinobu, because at first he just sort of dived in head first, not knowing about any of the exams or tests or qualification needed to become a shinobu, and works and then work up to be the rank of, was it Hokage? Hokage. So he just has his eyes on the prize, but any of the details he doesn't really care about or learn about until the last minute. So it was quite nice to see that he that fight with him and Haku, where Haku is like, my life has no purpose, please kill me. And he's trying to like, wow, is this really what being like a shinobu is? I just like kill you, and that's it. It's nice to see he's quite hesitant with it, but also I guess he does it anyway, which is quite surprising to see. I thought that there's going to be more sort of hesitancy, but they went the other direction where Haku actually suddenly realized that the person he cared about the most is still alive, so his life is still yet to be over. But yeah, and then afterwards Naruto is determined to say, I'm going to carve my own way to become the best shinobi ever. I don't want to follow the traditional path and be just, killing without reason. But yeah, I thought that was a cool thing to see.
Nice. So we have a special section in OCHATO where we like to take the character or one or more characters from the previous manga that we read and pull them into this one. And last time we read Blue Period. So I think we should pull Yatora Yaguchi, our main character from Blue Period, into Naruto. How do you think he'd do?
I think he would buy Naruto ramen every single day.
That's very wholesome.
Like, I guess, like, if they needed like an artist to depict the fights. Like, if I can imagine like Naruto hiring Yaguchi to like draw the fights
That could be cool.
as they happen, like just as a documentation, so that Naruto can make his book, The Journey to Being Hokage. Like, and it would just be like full of paintings by Yaguchi.
Mhm. I reckon you could fit Yaguchi's basic plot into Naruto really nicely, where he starts off as like basically a really talented guy that fairly effortlessly seems to just kind of sail through academy and stuff, and then has this kind of turning point for him, like he does in Blue Period, where he sees, I want to say, was it Maru Mori's painting from the art club, and then basically ends up quitting the life of a ninja to pursue art. And I could see him having like a really good chat about, what do you value most? Why are you doing this with Naruto? Where Naruto's like, you were so good. Why didn't you keep doing it? And he's like, well, I'd rather contribute via painting or something. Why are you a ninja? And then that kind of helps Naruto like refine his shinobi way. So I think that could work pretty well. What do you think, Suellen?
Yeah, I think I always see him as like a mini arc where he's like trying to do art but keeps getting interrupted by shinobi shenanigans, or getting really annoyed. But also but then he gets really inspired by the fight scenes, and he's create really cool art with it, and thus you'll have like a series of not portraits, but portrayal of Naruto being cool and Sasuke being cool, and I guess there's Sakura in the background.
He could turn it into his own ninjutsu, so things that he paints basically become alive, and then like through chakra. So if he paints like a bird, he can then send it at somebody. I'm not gonna lie, I totally stole that idea from one of the later characters who does exactly that. But
Oh, wow.
he could do that.
Yeah, that's really cool. That would be really cool. Yeah.
Cool. So this was Naruto. Do you have any final thoughts?
I'm glad I finally delved right into the story and journey of Naruto, and I can't wait to get to the scenes of many vulnerable moments, such as Sasuke screaming Naruto and Naruto screaming Sasuke.
Excuse me, where's that? That's like every 50 chapters in the
Or that very specific scene where Sasuke is pinned to a wall by someone.
Yes.
You're too weak. You lack hatred.
But yeah, I loved it overall. I'm really glad I got to read it, and and I think the amount that we read was really good as well.
Yeah, it's interesting to see the origins of many shonen mangas. Yeah, and the massive success that is Naruto. I finally can say that I've read Naruto. I'm no longer a fake anime fan. We ticked off Bleach, we ticked off One Piece, we ticked off Naruto. The trio is complete.
We're good.
I've ascended.
For me, it was fun coming back to Naruto. I forgot how good it is in a lot of points. I think that while it has a few kind of issues in context, in particular, some of the female characters could use more depth. One pink-haired person in particular. I think the rest of it is excellent. Really like the world. I can hear some of the lines. I watch the anime so much. Weirdly, some of them I'm hearing in Japanese and some of them in English, because I watched both the dubs and the subs. But big fan. As I said, I'm currently on chapter like 252. I'm going to finish it. I've only got 500 chapters left. Won't take me long.
Amazing.
So yeah, thank you for reading this one. Another one close to my heart. What are we reading next week?
So next week we are returning to One Piece, and sorry, I just saw you tried to tick off Naruto, but there's gaps.
That didn't work at all.
I think they added the recap episode and it just messed it up. Maybe.
Excel is hard, guys.
Oh, yeah, so we're going for round 2 of One Piece, and we stopped off at chapter 60, and and we are reading up to and including chapter 100. So One Piece chapter 100. Cool. Thank you for listening to this episode of OCHATO.
Don't forget to like and subscribe. See you next time.